Walker, Season 1, Episode 3, entitled Bobblehead, starts out with a flashback of Walker and his wife Emily in a vintage red convertible Mustang with a standard stick transmission, and she is teaching him how to drive a stick shift. We fast forward to present day. Walker and Ramirez are on stakeout in Ramirez's new pickup truck at a bar strip club, hoping to catch a perp named Toretto, a woman who is an arms dealer. From the previous two episodes, we see now that Walker and Ramirez's work relationship seems to have improved some. They are getting along a lot better, and they are also trying to get to know each other a lot better as well. We transition from outside the bar to inside, where we see a young, very well-built man covered in baby oil and glitter, wearing only a cowboy hat, blue jeans, boots, and chaps. He is on stage doing his work for the ladies in the club. As he is working his backside and his front side, he comes down off the stage pretending to give a lady a lap dance, when in fact the lady who he is dancing for is Toretto, and they are making plans for later that night because they are really working together. People start coming out of the bar, but Walker and Ramirez realize Toretto's car is still there in the parking lot, so they go in looking for her and realize no one is there. As they are asking one of the other male strippers if anyone is in the back, they hear tires squealing and run out the front door, and to Walker and Ramirez's dismay, the stripper, cowboy, and Toretto are escaping in Ramirez's brand new pickup truck. As they are speeding away, the camera cuts back to Ramirez, who has a very angry look on her face, which I would too if someone stole my truck and it was brand new. The next morning, we see Stella and August walking to school together, just talking as they are walking, and they seem to be getting along pretty well. We haven't seen much of interaction between the two of them until this moment in the third episode, and from what we can see, they seem to have a good brother and sister relationship. They get to school, and some of their friends ask them if they are going to the bonfire the next night. Stella is not sure since she has a court date looming due to the events from the first episode, and August doesn't think he is going to the bonfire either until a girl that seems to like him, and he seems to like her, asks him, and he decides to go. We transition to Bonham and Adeline Walker, and they seem to be sort of snappy at each other this go-round, and we learn that is because of an old friend of Walker's named Hoyt is in town, and Adeline says he is like family and has invited him over for dinner. However, Bonham does not like the man, and we learn why later on in the episode. Back at Ranger headquarters, Captain James is giving his Rangers some updated information on the lady named Sharon Toretto. She again is an arms dealer who buys weapons all over the state of Texas and sells them over the border for triple the cost. Ramirez is not in a very good mood, being that they lost Toretto and that her brand new pickup truck was stolen. Walker assures her that everything will work out and lets her know that both he and Captain James have her back. As James is giving them the new intel, he shows the security video outside the club from the night before that captures Toretto and who Captain James calls the naked cowboy, stealing Ramirez's truck. As Walker is looking at the video, they didn't get any facial recognition, but from the movements and the way the naked cowboy is acting and presenting himself, Walker realizes he knows exactly who the naked cowboy is. Later on in the day, Walker goes out to his parents' house, and as he steps out of his truck, he's getting ready to go inside when suddenly Walker is attacked from behind. Both Walker and the unknown assailant toss each other around until Walker realizes it is his old friend named Hoyt Rollins. Also, he is the same man or naked cowboy at the strip club and on the security cam footage who stole Ramirez's new truck. Walker gets pissed off at him and asks him questions about last night at the strip club, to which Hoyt plays dumb and acts like he has no idea what Walker is talking about. He tells Walker that he is just in town to catch up with him since they are or were best pals. All of a sudden, Walker's mom comes outside and Hoyt and Adeline greet each other warmly with a big old bear hug. Walker just shakes his head in disbelief as he follows them inside the house. Later on in the evening, Hoyt joins the Walkers for dinner. Cordell asks him why he's in town, and again, Hoyt's response is just to be with my best buddy. We do learn that he was also working up in Lubbock, working in the oil business, but that job dried up there. As the night goes on, Bonham can't take it anymore and leaves the table with his food and some bourbon and goes out to the bunkhouse to finish his dinner. We realize during this scene that Hoyt is possibly related to the family, as Stella and August call him Uncle Hoyt, and that he tells the kids that their mom was the one who started the bonfire tradition years ago when they were both young. Mickey Ramirez is looking for her truck, and she tracks her truck down at Walker's ranch. She sees through the window that the perp they are looking for is inside Walker's parents' house eating dinner with them, and all of a sudden she is greeted from behind by the sound of a shotgun cocking and aimed at her, and we realize it is Bonham Walker. She explains who she is and what she is doing there. Bonham knows how Hoyt works and tells her straight up that right now they have nothing to arrest Hoyt on, or Walker would have already arrested him. Bonham invites Ramirez to the bunkhouse where he is at for steak and bourbon. She agrees to that. Bonham and Ramirez talk and eat. Bonham tells her about Hoyt and Cordell's past. He says that his wife has a soft spot for him because he had a rough upbringing. He also tells Ramirez that Walker has problems and with faces from the past, and that someone needs to help him turn that around. Ramirez gets her new truck back. Walker tells Hoyt that he will take the day off tomorrow and that they will spend the day together and catch up, but he also tells Hoyt that if he is caught up in the arms dealing with Toretto, that he will have to take him down. The next day, Hoyt takes Walker to a storage facility out in the middle of nowhere and lifts the garage door on one of the storage units to reveal the vintage red convertible Mustang that we saw in the opening flashback scenes with Emily and Cordell. Walker looks at it with pure joy and starts thinking back to when he and Emily had it. We get another flashback scene of him and Emily in the red Mustang convertible. We learn in the flashback scene that Walker lost the car by betting on it in a game of poker that Hoyt won the pot on. We also learn that Walker named the car Stella and that Emily is pregnant with their first child. Back at Ranger headquarters, Ramirez tells Captain James that Walker knows the perp named Hoyt and that Hoyt is working with Toretto, to which Captain James responds that he already knows that. Captain James tells Ramirez to keep an eye on them and that a big food delivery truck was stolen from a butcher company for Toretto to hide the arms she is selling. Walker and Hoyt go to the bar called the Sidestep where Walker's friend Jerry works. They have a drink and play some poker. Later, Ramirez joins them and arrests Hoyt. Walker is unhappy with Ramirez that she arrested Hoyt, to which she tells him, "I'm checking your blind spot for you to make sure you still have one." Ramirez interrogates Hoyt and lets him know that they have evidence and that it is building up against him, and if he doesn't tell them where Toretto is, then he is going down as well. Stella decides to go to the bonfire along with her brother August. They are all drinking, of course. August is showing off for some of the girls and is unable to hold his liquor and starts throwing up. Stella can't get in touch with her dad because he is busy on the Toretto case, so she calls her Uncle Liam and his fiancée Brett to come pick them up from the bonfire since August is drunk. Hoyt played Walker, Ramirez, and James and the Ranger SWAT team. He sent them to the wrong location, which turned out to be empty. As they think he is getting away with deceiving the Rangers, Walker remembers where he took them to the storage facility where the red Mustang was kept. Hoyt makes a last phone call to Walker's mother, Adeline, to say thank you to her and also to say goodbye. Liam and Brett get August and Stella, and they all enjoy the drive back to the house singing to music in the car. Walker and Ramirez go to the correct storage facility location and take down Toretto and her band of thugs who work for her with her arms dealings. Hoyt tries to get away again by stealing Ramirez's pickup truck for a second time, but this time she has the security feature on her phone activated, and as Hoyt is driving away, she is able to kill the engine to the truck, stopping Hoyt from getting away. The next morning, Walker takes Stella to her court appearance, but he does not wear his badge or his uniform, and Stella seems disappointed about that. He tells her he is going as her father. August goes along with them, even though he's still suffering from the effects from a hangover due to getting drunk at the bonfire the night before. They go in the red convertible Mustang. Stella receives 100 hours of community service. She gets her driver's license suspended, and she has to pay a fine. On the drive home, Cordell Walker stops the car on the side of the road and tells everyone to get out. He tells August that he is going to run behind the car as they drive to sweat out the effects from the hangover. and he hands the keys to Stella before her license is taken away, and he teaches her how to drive the stick shift red convertible Mustang. And that is how Season 1, Episode 3, Bobblehead ends. This episode starts out like the pilot episode, except this time in a flashback of Cordell Walker and Emily Walker before they started their family. It is a touching yet amusing scene as she is teaching Cordell how to drive a standard transmission stick shift red convertible Mustang. This scene hit home for me because when I was younger and learning how to drive, I tried to learn how to drive a stick shift standard transmission, and I just never could get it down. I never could learn how to drive a stick shift. I love how in the first couple of shots before we see Cordell and Emily in the episode, we see some more of the Texas hill country landscape and scenery in and around the Austin, Texas area. I never get tired of seeing that, and it's just beautiful. One thing I like about this episode was the fact that I could actually hear all the dialogue spoken in this one. Maybe enough people complained about the first 2 episodes and the sound and volume, and they finally fixed it, which was nice. So thank you to the directors and sound people for getting this problem fixed. I feel like this show is getting better and better with each episode. It's starting to pick up the pace a little bit, and I feel like we're fixing to hit something good here in the next few episodes. We are really starting to get to know the characters a bit more. Walker and Ramirez's partnership and work relationship is starting to improve. They still have some things to work on, like better communication with each other. And as far as Walker's kids go, Stella and Cordell are now in a good place and are trying to repair the damage to their relationship and to do right by each other. August's relationship with his dad is still going good. August is not so uptight anymore, and we see him just kind of cut loose in this episode. Well, at one point, maybe he cuts loose a little bit too much. The parents, Adeline and Bonham, have a little bump in this episode because of Adeline's good nature and is trying to be there for Walker's friend Hoyt since he had a bad upbringing. It's not a bad bump in the road, just a small one, and they will recover from it. I really like Walker's parents. They're just good old people, down-to-earth people, and I like people like that, and I like characters like that. We see Liam and his fiancée Brett in this episode getting cake samples for the wedding, I'm guessing. But what's funny about Brett is his reaction when he learns August is drunk at the bonfire. Just the expression on his face says it all. He didn't even have to say any dialogue. His facial expression did all the talking. Like I said, I don't mind when they show Liam and his relationship partner as long as they keep it to a minimum, which in this episode and past episodes they have. And if they just keep it to a minimum and not just shove it down our throats like Supergirl did, then I'm fine with that. The only relationship I have yet to see any progress in is Walker's relationship with his former partner, now boss, Captain Larry James. Since he is now the captain and the boss, he's a nice guy, but still, he's not very kind or respectful to Walker, and you would think that since they had been partners for a long time, James would show more respect to Walker, and I feel like he's a good ranger, but he's just an all-around asshole to Walker most of the time. I'm just like, dude, he was your partner. Why don't you just show him some more respect and chill out with your attitude? It's ridiculous. I felt like the story in this episode was good and strong. It had a lot of depth and emotion to it, even though this story has been played out to death on other shows and even movies, but it was still a very good episode. I feel like each episode of Walker so far is building on itself and that the episodes are getting better and better each week. They could have given the main villain Toretto more to do in this episode so we get to know her a little bit more, but if she was the main baddie, then they should have made her character better. And like I said, given her more to do. She hardly had any dialogue and she kind of just stood around most of the time. But I think they were just concentrating on the relationship story between Walker and his friend Hoyt, who gets into trouble aspect of the story. So that's probably what they were focusing on. But if they had focused more on Toretto a little bit, that would have been nice and given her a little bit more depth. Guest star Matt Barr was amazing as Hoyt Rollins. He really brought this character to life, and He was an interesting character. Maybe we'll see him again in future episodes. I still want to see or just know if Walker's going to do any martial arts when taking down the bad guys in this show. And I'm also still waiting to see if Walker is going to get some kind of theme score or theme song as far as a soundtrack goes. I hope eventually we get something, but right now we really don't have anything. So maybe they'll work on that later on. I'm going to give Walker Season 1, Episode 3, Bobblehead, an A-. I just thought it was a really good episode, and I think the episodes are getting better and better each time. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. I will say good night. God bless. I love all of you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.